Somebody having both salary as well as business income, how can they go for presumptive taxation?
100% I can avail.
Oh,
For presumptive taxation scheme, there is not a...
When I make profit, or whether I go for presumptive tax or maintain the books of accounts, should I go through an auditor or I can file the tax directly?
So first I want to clear is that for doing audit, there is only one requirement, that is the turnover. If suppose in next year my turnover is below 10 crore, then I did not do the audit.
No need to go for it. That 6 lakh be offset against the 10 lakh loss?
Presumptive income. So it is presumed that this is your income. It is assumed that all deductions are already taken, all depreciations are already taken.
Hi, this is PR Sundar. So welcome to this special episode where we are going to clarify all your doubts related to income tax, particularly for futures and options traders. TaxBuddy.com and finbingo.com founder Mr. Sujit Bangre is here to clarify our doubts. Welcome Mr. Sujit.
Thank you.
So straight away I'll go into some questions. The income tax itself is very complicated. Our finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman has made it more complicated by introducing something called new tax regime and old tax regime. Maybe you can throw some light on that.
One test we have to apply on ourselves. During this financial year, while doing financial plan, what is my objective? Whether I need disposable cash more with me or whether I have to save the taxes and grow the wealth. Suppose I have so many expenses to do, so many family responsibilities are there, and that's why I need a lot of cash. Cash means lot of money to be spent on my domestic purposes. So I need disposable cash with me. So at the same time, because of that, then I cannot invest into the tax saving instruments. I need disposable cash, and therefore I cannot invest in tax saving instruments. Now because of new tax regime, I can avail new tax regime. I can increase my disposable cash because I am not investing into the tax saving instruments, but at the same time I can avail the benefit of lower taxes. So firstly, if my purpose is disposable cash, then new tax regime is good. If my purpose is to grow wealth, then certainly second tax regime is better. This old tax regime is better because there you can invest into certain good options like ELSS, PPF, NPS. Another third test. Suppose I need some disposable cash, but many times we do things without considering tax incidence. I have my daughter, I pay for her tuition fees. When I'm paying for her tuition fees, I don't think about taxes. We all have done RT-PCR test last financial year. So that we have not done for taxation purpose, right? We all have health insurance, we all have term insurance on life insurance. All these purpose is different, not tax saving. All these things I am doing unknowingly for other things, but there is a tax saving incidence on that. So what I should do is that I should work out what is tax I have already saved unknowingly, and with that amount, if old tax regime is giving me more tax benefit than new tax regime, then I should go to old tax regime.
Okay.
Otherwise I can go to new tax regime.
I think your website taxbuddy.com also has this provision where people can actually check, by giving all the inputs, which tax regime is better for them. So they can compare, right?
Yes, we have our tax planning tool, Tax Planner, and which has very advanced mechanism of data analytics, so that it gives a very exact solution. This is the scenario in which you can go for old, and this is the scenario in which you can go for the new tax regime.
Now my question is, this financial year, I want to save more, so I go for the old tax regime. Next financial year, maybe have more expenses. I don't want to do any saving, so I can switch to new. So like this, can a person switch from old tax regime from 1 year to new tax regime for another year, depending upon the benefit for him?
Certainly, 100%. If I am a salaried person, I have full liberty to change tax regime. Even I tell you, when your employer will ask you tax saving related details in the month of June, you might have given him that this investment you are doing. That means as per old regime, you might have given him, he might have done TDS as per old regime. But don't worry, while filing return, Even if your TDS is done as per old regime by your employer, you can claim new tax regime in the return. Similarly, if this year I have claimed new tax regime, next year I can claim old tax regime as you have asked. So there is full liberty with me. But if I am having business income, or I am doing business activity, or salary plus business, anything with business, so in that case, I don't have this liberty.
So this liberty is given only for the salaried people.
Only for salaried person.
So how about other people? At least one time in their lifetime they can change.
So if suppose I have taken a new tax regime this year, then I have to follow this new tax regime in the subsequent years. Government has not clarified on that. Maybe this budget they may come with certain clarification. Most of the your followers are having futures and options or share trading related income, and this is obviously business income. So in this case, if you are having share trading and futures and option income, which is business income, while filing return, be careful in selecting the tax regime, because if you decide the tax regime, then you can new tax regime, then you have to follow that regime in the subsequent years. So that's why this is a little tricky thing.
If you have a business income or salary plus business income, then you can change from old regime to new regime only once in your lifetime.
True.
And then once you switch over to the new regime, every year you are supposed to be continuing with the new regime only.
True.
So this is the rule as of now. Maybe in future, the finance minister may change something. Mr. Sujit, this is a very, very tempting question many people ask, especially people with who do a lot of trading. Say for example, my case, my profit per annum is definitely more than 5 crore. And if the profit is more than 5 crore per annum, when you go for individual taxation, it goes up to 42%, right? On the other hand, and what happened in 2019, so in one shot, the government reduced the corporate tax from 30% to 22%. So you end up paying 22%, along with the surcharge also it works out to be 25%. So you pay 25% in corporate tax and then pay 42% in individual tax. So many people ask this question, sir, trading in F&O, is it good to trade in individual name or is it good to trade in company name? That's first question. And I'll add on another question. And some people say, I cannot set up a company only for trading. And if I set up a company only for trading in futures and options, then I need to get an NBFC license. So I spoke to many auditors. Even auditors are not very clear.
So now the first question, shall I trade in the name of individual or company name? As it's very clear that tax incidence will be less in a company than individual. So one logic will say that go for the company and do the trading over there. But the profit is a company's profit. When I need money for myself from company, I have to take it as a dividend. When I take it as a dividend, it is taxable as a slab rate. Again, 42% will come if we are into higher tax.
So it became a double taxation.
If suppose I decide I will take salary from, then there is a limit of ROC for salary, how much salary directors can get. Otherwise, you have to take approvals and all those things. But apart from that, if I take a salary from company, again it is a taxable as per the slab rate. Right. If I need to go outside for a traveling for my pleasure trip, I cannot take it from my company. I have to take it as a dividend. So if we are doing is as our additional activity along with our core other business, core other income, then it's better to do is make it simple, keep it simple, keep it into individual's name. Because otherwise tax will be same if in both the cases. But if we have to do it as a professional activity as a large scale, then it obviously is a company, corporate entity is always better. Now second question, whether NBFC license is required. If I am doing trading transactions in futures and option or regular share trading and I am having a company for that, there is absolutely not requirement of an NBFC license. Absolutely it is not required and it is perfectly legal.
Yeah. Just to add on few more things. If you are an individual, the cost of compliance is not very high. Whereas if you are a company, there is a cost of compliance. A more peculiar one, so maybe I will ask him the question. First, let me explain what is a possible scenario. Let us say I made 1 crore loss. First, let us talk as an individual. As an individual, I made 1 crore loss this year. I report to the income tax. The next financial year, if I made 1 crore profit, then I can tell the income tax, last year I had 1 crore loss. This year I made 1 crore profit. So it is set off. I am not going to pay any income tax. That's fine. But now the same scenario, you come back to company. I cannot tell the income tax department, I had 1 crore loss last year, 1 crore profit this year, so I am not going to pay tax. No. I heard that there is something called minimum alternate tax.
True.
So if you make 1 crore profit, let us say minimum alternate tax is 20%, you will have to pay 20 lakh tax. But for 1 crore profit, your regular taxation may be 25 lakh. Minimum tax is 20 lakh. So you can pay only minimum tax of 20 lakhs. That extra 5 lakh only you can offset for the losses that you made last year. But if you are having 1 crore loss, if you are setting off like 5 lakh rupees per annum, how many years? Because you have a time limit to set off your losses. So maybe you can throw some light on that.
See, minimum alternative tax is a very interesting thing, and it is one more hindrance for a common person to go for a company. So this is one major problem. But a good point is that even if I am paying MAT this year, next year if I have profit, I can take credit of that. Suppose if at 20% whatever is the rate of MAT, if I am paying 4 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees as a minimum alternative tax this year, and if suppose next year I have some substantial tax liability because I have a huge profit, then I can claim MAT credit for this earlier MAT paid. So ultimately it is you will get credit for this. So practically if you earn profit in future years and you claim the credit for MAT earlier years, that means you got the benefit of that loss.
Okay.
But everything is if and but.
Yes.
There is no
right.
There we cannot say with assurity I can have a perpetual profit in the coming years. So,
yes. So my simple advice is that, okay, number one, if your capital is very big, at least 3 crore plus. Okay, so your capital is very big. Number two, you are confident that you will be making only the profit every year. Then you can go for company. But other than that, it's better to trade in individual name. If I'm trading in futures and options, will I come under professional, or will I come under business, or will I come under self-employed? So what is the actual status?
There are two categories. One is a profession and one is a business. And there is a different incidence of taxation if you go for presumptive taxation, and many other things are there. Simply trading into shares and trading into futures and options is not at all a profession. It is a business. So this is very clear.
Earlier, for one of my questions, you said if I'm doing trading in futures and options, whatever the incidental expenses, the expenses related to the business, it can be shown as expenses.
Yes.
Now my question is, I am a salaried person, but I am also doing futures and options trading. In that case, can I show the expenses, incidental expenses?
It doesn't have any bearing on I am having a salary income. I may have income from house property, rental income, interest income. Business income will be taxed separately. In individual, ultimately slab-wise taxation, all taxable income will be clubbed. But individually, business will be taxed separately. There is no any limitation apart from new tax regime and old tax regime which comes in between if there is a salaried income along with business. So audit requirement and everything will be distinctly dependent on what is the quantum of your transaction and what you are doing in those transactions.
Simply saying, even if I have a salaried income, when I'm doing trading in futures and options, so incidental expenses can be shown.
Yes, certainly.
When is the right time to subscribe to TaxBuddy services? Because it's almost the year end now. Is there any, we can subscribe to TaxBuddy services throughout the year or any particular period?
Firstly, as we have discussed in earlier question, that the best way to do tax compliance is the now. Like that, there is no any perfect time to subscribe to TaxBuddy services. When you want to file the return, you can avail the services of taxbuddy.com. What taxbuddy.com has brought change, and we are proud of that, is that we take care of tax life cycle. If the user files return with taxbuddy.com, any notice, any query with respect to that return is TaxBuddy's baby. We take care of it completely till its resolution without any further charges. And secondly, we give in the current financial year, whichever is the year going on, in that the user gets tax planning support, complete support for tax planning. So whether if you file return now, so for the current financial years, you will get tax planning support. And with respect to this return, if you get your notice anytime in next 1 year, you will get complete tax advisory from taxbuddy.com. So any time is perfect whenever you decide to file the return.
Oh, that's something good about TaxBuddy services. And there are many other portals I have come across. So, but the thing is, in case if there is any notice from income tax department, so you are ready to help us. So that's something good. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And let me once again thank Mr. Sujit. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for watching.